Let's chat about the use of dynamic mimicry as an anti-predator defense mechanism in the mimic octopus. But first, some background info. Cephalopods are a group comprising squid, cuttlefish, and octopuses. Cephalopods have remarkable camouflaging abilities that they use to evade predator detection by playing a never-ending game of Where's Waldo. Other than making them look constantly unimpressed, their camera-like eyes provide them with remarkable vision that enables them to constantly adapt to the variety of threats within their environment at any given moment. Here you can see a rapid skin color change in this mimic octopus. This phenomenon begins with the processing of the information gathered by the eyes within the brain, and this generates signals that cascade through the body to the hundreds of thousands of chromatophores, or color cells, that reside within the skin. The expansion and contraction of these chromatophores changes the level of pigment that is displayed on the skin, and this enables the octopus to control their color. This octopus has changed not only their color, but also their skin texture to blend in with the coral. They've done this through an additional set of musculature within the skin that, when it contracts, creates little bumps called papillae. For squishy animals who are unable to throw hands with a predator, these mechanisms are idyllic, as they enable cephalopods to hide and avoid interaction altogether. The limited diversity in landmarks of the shallow waters where the mimic octopus resides meant that they had to get creative with their hiding skills, as for one with no bones protecting their internal organs, it's not enough to faceplant in the sand and hope that no one tries to eat you. Because evading predator detection is too challenging given the environment, the mimic octopus instead seeks to avoid recognition by committing identity fraud, whereby they embody the appearance and behaviour of their neighbours. Their repertoire of mimics is so effective that the species wasn't actually first discovered until 1998. Flatfish species are the primary target model of the mimic octopus. Here's a flatfish for a point of reference. They move in very short bursts with frequent stops in between, and their preference of swimming close to the seabed means that most of the motion comes from their fins rather than their tails. And here's a mimic octopus doing their best flatfish impression. As you can see, they've sprawled their arms behind them and flattened their bodies down, and they're kind of moving along the substrate with ripples in their body, just as the flatfish does. The octopus will typically use this model when they're in the midst of foraging and need to move from one spot to the next quickly. Another species that the mimic octopus uses as a model is the lionfish. Here is a lionfish for a point of reference. Though they will never look quite as fabulous, they will try their absolute best. They achieve this look by stiffening up their bodies and extending out their arms with banded coloration. Typically they use this mimic when they're floating from the open waters back down to the seabed. The third and arguably most interesting model that is used is the banded sea snake. The lack of real estate options within the environment means that some damselfish are especially moody when it comes to territory. Unable to ask Nemo and his dad that they kindly back off, the mimic octopus borrows the identity of a well-known predator to these fish, the banded sea snake. This wonderful piece of acting involves the octopus burying their bodies and 6 legs into the ground. This frees up 2 arms to act as the head and the tail of their model, and they'll even go so far as to create 2 little dots at the end of the head arm to serve as the snake's eyes. And typically this performance results in the damselfish withdrawing their attack, because just like the mimic octopus, they're not looking to become someone's grub. According to Urania Gomez Moreno in 2019, mimic octopuses have been observed mimicking sessile invertebrates as well as mobile vertebrates. As a result, the true number of models that make up their repertoire still remains a mystery. Despite there being an understanding of the fact that this is obviously a tactic to evade predators, there is also a lot of speculation on whether there is perhaps an additional intent, such as, is this a male trying to find lady friends? Or are they putting out the warning, hey, I'm poisonous and eating me will give you indigestion? Or perhaps it's an additional factor that's not even been considered yet. A lot of investigation work still remains to be done. What can be said without a doubt though is that this species is incredibly cool, and I've really enjoyed learning about them, and I hope that maybe you were able to take something away from this presentation. Thank you so much.